Are you falling asleep on me? Oh no, just that eyes closed. Okay. Thought you loved me. Good morning, Reptilians. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Elle, this is Morty, and this is Elle's Reptiles. First of all, Happy New Year! We are starting out this new year with talking about blue-tongued skinks. We haven't done a blue-tongued skink video on this channel in quite a while. I've done this video with a lot of different reptiles, bearded dragons, leopard geckos, ball pythons. We're basically just talking about what I wish I knew before I got a blue-tongued skink. A video about tips if you are about to get a blue-tongued skink or if you're a new blue-tongued skink owner. And I'm super excited to let you guys know that for this video, we have a new sponsor. We partnered with Love Skinks Rescue. They are a rescue of skinks located in North Carolina, and I'm super excited to tell you all about them. So make sure to stay until the end of the video to find out more about this awesome rescue and what they are doing to help out animals like Morty. Let's get started. So the first one and the most important one is know what type of blue-tongued skink you are getting. This is not necessarily an issue if you are getting a blue-tongued skink that is from Australia, especially if you live here in the United States. Those are all captive bred blue-tongued skinks. But when we start looking at Indonesian blue-tongued skinks that are sold sometimes at reptile shows or at chain pet stores, those can get iffy because there are lots of different species of Indonesian blue-tongued skinks. This is something that I didn't realize was a problem until after I got Morty and I was looking at blue-tongued skink forums, and I realized how much of a difference this makes, how important this is. One big thing is if you get an Indonesian blue-tongued skink, many times they are going to be wild caught. This is a big issue because that means that they are gonna have parasites. You're gonna have to take them to the vet to get treated for parasites. They may be sick. They could be injured. That is important. That also means that a lot of times that person that is selling you a wild-caught Indonesian blue-tongued skink might not know the specific species of that. And again, this is a huge problem that I saw in the blue-tongued skink forums when I first got Morty. Are you falling asleep on me? Oh no, just that eyes closed. Okay. Thought you loved me. So with something like an Australian blue-tongued skink, they need like no humidity. They are from Australia, just like bearded dragons. They like it arid. With Indonesian blue-tongued skinks or Irian giant blue-tongued skinks like Morty, then humidity is a bit more important. If you look at a Himalayan blue-tongued skink, which many people will sell as just straight Indonesians, they need like 90% humidity. It has to be very humid in there or they have all kinds of problems, and that's one of the biggest things that I always saw in the forums. And quickly, the way to tell the difference of those, other than just going to those forums, I'll leave the link for those in the description. Morty is an Irian giant, and one of the biggest ways that you can tell this is this trident shape right here on the back of his head. This trident here, this 3, and it kind of comes down. An Indonesian blue-tongued skink versus an Australian is going to have, okay, sorry, won't touch your legs. The black spots back here and here on their legs. For Himalayan blue-tongued skinks, if you lift them up, they will have a black belly, and that is an indicator that that skink is going to need a very high humidity. Again, I'll leave the link to that form in the description, but those are just really quick things to check. Next one is shedding. Blue-tongued skinks, especially more humidity-loving species of blue-tongued skinks, can sometimes, especially when they're babies, have issues shedding their toes. Shed will get wrapped around there, and it could cut that circulation off, basically as it is with any sort of lizard or gecko species. For that, just make sure that you are keeping the humidity where it needs to be. You could also provide a humid box if you would like. Just make sure that when they shed, you kind of go back afterwards and make sure that all their toes shed correctly. That way they won't have a problem. Next up is diet options. This was a big one when I was looking into getting a blue-tongued skink. There are so many different people that say that blue-tongued skinks need so many different diets, and that is something that you should definitely look into before you get your blue-tongued skink, or else the amount of information there is going to be overwhelming. You should always research any animal before you get them, but that one, super important, or else you're going to be real overwhelmed. Blue-tongued skinks need a varied diet, but the way to give them that is pretty variable. So you have people that feed their blue-tongued skinks nothing but fresh fruits and veggies and bugs. You have people that feed their blue-tongued skinks canned cats and dog foods depending on the age. You have people that feed them the Rapashi, Arcadia, premixes. My biggest advice here is just to give them variety. Give them all of the things. Make sure you're mixing it up as you would with any reptile. Give them the Arcadia Rapashi premixes one day. Give them the canned cat or dog food mixed with fresh veggies another day. Give them bugs if they'll eat bugs. Give them treats of eggs or whatever. Just make sure you're mixing that diet up and providing calcium and vitamin supplements, and your skink will be good to go. Tank size. So when I got Morty, it was suggested that they be in a 40-gallon breeder, but I very quickly realized that was not going to be big enough for him. He basically could just stretch out in that tank, and that was it. Morty is now in a 6-foot tank. I would definitely suggest at least a 4-foot tank for these guys if you're going to get one, just because they are active. They are quite a bit more active than bearded dragons are. Giving them that extra room, they're gonna use it. But yeah, that's just something I definitely wish I would have planned for when I got them, because then I would have just started them out in a bigger tank. Seeing these guys, how big they are at a reptile show or at a pet store, doesn't really compare to seeing them in a tank at home, if that makes sense. The next very important thing for new blue tongue skink owners to know is that these guys burrow. No matter if you get a Himalayan, Indonesian, Irian giant, Australian blue tongue skink, these guys burrow. So they are going to need a lot of substrate. Very important. Make sure it is a species appropriate substrate. So a drier substrate for Australian ones and a substrate that's going to hold humidity for Indonesian. Make sure that you are giving them some kind of very, very thick substrate layer for them to burrow in. Morty has hides in his tank, but most of the time if he's hiding, he just burrows and just sleeps under the dirt. And this is a pretty normal behavior for them. This is not going to be an animal that you're going to want to keep on something like paper towels or reptile carpet. They are going to need substrate. And along those same lines, very important, make sure that there is nothing heavy on top of that substrate. They're going to burrow. If you have a large water dish, make sure it is pushed down into the substrate so that way they can't get under it and smush themselves. And make sure too, if you have any kind of large pieces of wood, Morty has a few very large pieces in his tank, make sure that they are all the way on the ground underneath all that substrate so that way they're not getting under it and toppling it over and it falling on them and them being injured. Make sure everything is all the way down, or if it's not heavy enough to do any damage, that's fine too. Just make sure that these guys can't get under there and injure themselves on their tank decorations or food and water dishes. Continuing on with the tank setup advice, make sure there's nothing too high for them to climb up. These guys are not climbers. Look at that. They have this very thick body, very thick long body, and these tiny little legs, and Morty doesn't even really have claws. He's kind of filed all those down with his digging. These guys are not climbers. If they were to get very high up on something and leap down, they could injure themselves. Unlike bearded dragons that do like to climb and can just hop down, these guys' body is not made for that. So make sure that if you have anything up in the tank, that it is at an angle where they can't really get up it, or it's just not high enough for them to get up there and fall. UVB lights. These guys need UVB. They are very active during the day, and any kind of diurnal animal is going to need a UVB light. Just like in the wild, if they're active during the day, they're going to be out in the sun. We want to give them the sun in captivity as well. Make sure you have a good UVB light, and with UVB, make sure you are changing it out appropriately. The two brands that I always recommend are Arcadia and Reptisun. With Arcadia, I think that they say, you guys let me know this, once a year you are changing out Arcadia bulbs, and once every 6 months you are changing out Reptisun. Super important because Arcadia is a little bit more expensive, but if you are only changing it out once a year, then it's no longer more expensive. My experience with Arcadia bulbs has just been very positive overall anyway. So yeah, whichever one you can get. I also suggest, just like with bearded dragons, using a tube that covers maybe at least half of the tank. But yeah, UVB, very important for blue tongue skinks. Enrichment. Again, blue tongue skinks, just like all reptiles, need enrichment. Enrichment for blue tongue skinks is going to be that substrate. It's going to be the ability for them to burrow. Also, putting any kind of real plants if you're doing bioactive, or a bunch of fake plants and leaves on the ground. Cork bark tunnels are awesome. Hides, short places to climb, so just like little areas that they can't topple off of and hurt themselves. Different textures, wood, rocks, anything like that. Enrichment is important, and a huge part of enrichment too is going to be their diet. Again, offering them so many different types of food. If your blue-tongued skink will eat live insects, this one will not. He tried to bite me last time I gave him live insects. If they'll eat live insects, that's another awesome form of enrichment, having them just run around their tank and hunt. That is an option. This video is almost done and you've sat so good this whole time. Who are you? Who are you? Have we met? And the last one, this is one that I definitely wish I knew when I got a blue-tongued skink, is that these guys can be grumpy. I thought it was just him. If he's shedding, he will try to bite me. If he is having a bad day, he will try to bite me. But then you have days like this where he just hangs out the whole time. I thought that that was just him, and then I have read a lot of messages and a lot of comments that their blue-tongued skinks are the same way. So not all of them are going to be like this, but just know that if you have just gotten a blue-tongued skink or you are going to get a blue-tongued skink, there's a possibility that they're gonna be a little grumpy, and just kind of paying attention to their body language. I should do a blue-tongued skink body language, but I don't know, who knows. Just kind of paying attention to that body language, checking to see if he's gonna lunge at you, things like that. Just make sure that you are keeping your fingers safe. Hopefully they'll have more good days than bad. But that is it. That's all I have for this video. This was a mixture of things that I wish I knew before getting a blue-tongued skink and things that you should know if you're about to get your first blue-tongued skink video. But that is it. So this week, as I said at the beginning of this video, we are working with a brand new sponsor that we're really excited about.
And that's Love Skinks Rescue.
Love Skinks is a fantastic skink rescue located in North Carolina that takes in skinks that people may not be able to care for anymore from all over the United States.
And then they rehabilitate these animals and find them new homes.
Currently, they are not actually shipping skinks out because it is winter and they want to wait until the temperatures get a little warmer so it's safer for the animals. But if you would like to support Love Skinks Rescue, you can help them out by donating to their Patreon or by buying merch. All merch proceeds go to the well-being of those animals. And they were super awesome and made artwork of me. That's so cool. I posted on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it there. And we made them into stickers.
With every purchase of $30 or more in our shop, we'll be sending out one of these.
Yeah, for free. And they have Love Skinks information on the back that you probably cannot see. We've always included free stickers in our Etsy orders of $30 or more, and we thought that this would be an awesome way to get the word out about this rescue. So these are now included in those orders on our shop.
So make sure you check out their website at loveskinks.com.
Oh, and they also have a YouTube channel where they do skink ASMR, so definitely check that out too if that's something that you're interested in. Again, so excited to be working with a new sponsor and so excited that it is a rescue. Love what they do. It is so awesome that they are helping these animals out and giving them a second chance. Thank you so much to Love Skinks Rescue for sponsoring this video.
You're awesome.
As always, if you have not already, please feel free to follow me on all the socials and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications every single time I put out a video, which is every Sunday, and maybe still some Wednesdays. We'll have to see how that goes. This week's Instagram shout out is here, and this week's subscriber shout out is here because I'm doing this way in advance. Thank you guys both so much for subscribing and following me and going through and liking stuff and commenting and all that jazz. Thank you guys both so much. You are the bee's knees. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. This week's video, we're just talking about, I've done this video and I'll leave the description. I'll leave the link for people being sold things that they don't know what they are. People being sold things and the people being sold later for them to burrow. And make sure that they're not getting under it and toppling it over or hurting them. So that's it. And then this will go in the Love Skinks into stickers. Your turn. Well, I guess you're not even in the video, but
she's gonna get started.
Actually, yeah, that's good.
Bye.